Hello everyone, this is Prapti from Naukri Learning and welcome you all to our webinar on project management. We will discuss PMP exam challenges and give you preparation tips. Our speaker today is Mr. Muralidhar Gaddham. Muralidhar Gaddham is a senior IT professional with over 22 years of experience in operational and technical leadership in IT infrastructure and systems software. 3 years of corporate training delivery in management and leadership, 1 year of training delivery in PMP, ITIL, and project management workshops. Over to you, Murali. Thank you so much for agreeing to collaborate on this webinar. I hope we can make very good use of your time here.
Yeah, thank you, Prapti, for introducing me. That was excellent. And this is Muralidhar here. From me also, a warm welcome to all of you who are on this webinar. That really shows your commitment, your passion to learn project management, to grow your career. Really good. Welcome. So we will get started slowly as people are joining, and not to worry, all your questions, all your doubts will be cleared in this session. Right, we are going to, I'm going to tell you about the exam, the PMP exam, what it is, also cover the advantages of the certification, the process of the exam. There is a detailed process, but a little bit the key things about the process, I will explain that to you. And more important after that is how to handle those challenges, because the exam is not an easy one. So how do we handle those challenges? And what do you need to study? How to get trained? How to have certain strategies so that you can make sure that you clear the exam, and the references. And I know one of you is already asking about where can we get sample questions, etc. So not to worry about that. I'm going to tell you some of the websites where you can get free questions. Of course, when you enroll for the training from Naukri e-learning, that would have mock exams definitely. But then apart from that, we need to do a lot of practice. So yes, so all that is coming up. Okay, so I'm just quickly checking status here so that we can go on. Now, by the way, if any of you have questions relevant to what I am speaking, you may chat me to the co-organizer. You may chat me, Muralidhar. But if you have general questions, there is a time at the end of the session. There is a 15-minute Q&A. You can post those things at the end of the session. I will definitely cover all the chats which come in the beginning. I will definitely cover them before we leave this session. Okay. In case you're not able to hear in between, you get logged off, you can log in again. It might happen sometimes because based on where you're located, how you're connected. Right, so please try various things to re-log in or bring up your speakers or your headphones or whatever, so that the logistics do not worry us, right? And you can always come back and join. Okay. Yes, I'm getting hellos from people. Thank you so much for the warm welcome from your side. Okay. Good. Okay, so what will happen here is we are also going to do a poll actually. So as Prapti was saying, I'm PMP certified. I was certified early in 1998. So I used to work in IBM those days, and that was the first batch from India which got certified in PMP. I was one of them. But then, you know, the pattern of the exam has changed. The knowledge has significantly increased. So I'm also certified in this year once again, not just recertification, but I've actually written the exam this year. So I know exactly what is happening there. So I'll be able to clarify your doubts. But before we get into all that, there is a poll for you. So I'm going to send you a poll, which means you have to answer some question about, I'm just going to show you that. There is one poll at the beginning of the session, and once we go into the Q&A mode, there are two more polls. Okay. Let me just bring them up. Because the first poll is about to help us understand your current role in the organization. So you will receive the poll shortly. You need to just mention about your role, what you do in your current job, in your current organization. At the end of the session, we would have 2 more questions, which are about what kind of a training program would you need? Would you prefer online, classroom, etc., right? Or and finally, there would be a question about the certification, your interest in the certification, right? But right now, the poll is about helping us understand your current role in the organization. So I'm just going to launch that one. So you won't be able to see my screen until you do that. But I will be talking as you do the poll. Yes, I got the tab back, Prapti. It did vanish, but it came back. Those of you who are thinking about taking an online session from remote places, yes, it is possible as long as you have a connection and you don't even need a webcam. You just need an audio, microphone, and speaker. You can connect from anywhere in the world, right? You have a live online classroom. So when it is a live online classroom, you can log into the classroom from anywhere in the world, whether you're in Germany or wherever. And by the way, the PMP is one of the certification. It's a very reputed certification, very highly reputed. You know, if you were to Google top certifications, top 5 certification, top 10, you know, management top 10, IT top 10, whatever, PMP always comes first or second. Apart from PMP, you get, some of you would be knowing the IT security certification comes, or the networking technology certifications come, right? So many of you would be aware of those who already done the Google search. Okay, so PMP. So I'm coming to that in a while once I show you the slides. Okay, I think by now you should have been able to answer the question. Okay, give me a second so that I bear with me. I'm just silent here for a minute so that I can administer the poll properly and come back and tell you everything about PMP. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to activate my screen sharing because when the poll is going on, the screen is not visible. My screen would not be visible to anyone. Okay. I'm just going to. Good, so I'm just going to close that. Yeah, so poll is closed. Hopefully you should have been able to answer your role. Okay, wonderful. So far, thank you for bearing all this. Over to the, now going into the webinar, today's topic about the PMP, which stands for Project Management Professional. It is, as many of you would know, this is from the Institute PMI. Those of you who are not familiar with PMI, I would urge you to go to their website. if you do pmi.org, this will take you to the PMI website, Project Management Institute, which is in the US, in Philadelphia. So what you actually do here, if you go here and do certifications, so this is their home page, right? You need to go to their certifications page, okay, and click on this one, Project Management Professional. This is how you go and apply for the certification. Okay? So I will tell you more about it later on, but just to tell you what it is, so this is where once you click here, you can see details about the certifications. Yes, I'm going to help people with the references, not to worry, the list of websites, the best books, etc., etc. Yes, all that will be answered going forward. So if you see here, so this is PMP, and it tells you apply now. It tells you what is the what experience is required, etc. Right? So I'll come back to you on that in a second. Coming back to the presentation here. So as I was telling you, it's a PMI.org. This is one of the bodies of project management worldwide who set the global standards of project management, program management, portfolio management. There are also other organizations like Association for Project Managers, International Project Management Association, and also Axelos, which was UK, the UK government, who issue certifications like Prince2, MSP, MOP, etc. Whereas the PMI issues PMP, PGMP, and PFMP, right? So excellent that you have the interest in going for the certification, going for this learning. Even if you are not going for certification, it is very useful to attend the training and improve your project management knowledge. So PMI is a very big organization. They actually involve with various institutes. They are associated with over 100 institutes. They are actually located in about 185 countries. 280 chapters. They have, as you see here, they have 6.5 lakh certified people globally. The certification is valid only for 3 years. You would have to recertify every 3 years. But for recertification, you do not have to write the exam again. For recertification, you just have to demonstrate project management experience. There are various ways to do it, by attending trainings, by giving education to others, etc., etc. There is a large handbook from PMI which you can go through afterwards. I will give you pointers to that. And by the way, PMI also has how many? It has several members. It has about 4.5 lakh members throughout the world. I am also a member. I am an active PMI member, meaning I'm also associated with the local chapter in Hyderabad where I live, and I attend their seminars sometimes. So those are the advantages of becoming a member. Once you are a member, you get discount on the exam fees, and you can also download a lot of important material for study free of cost. You will get soft copies, right, free of cost. So really good. Okay, and you also get access to a free project management community. There is something known as a projectmanagement.com, right? If you went to their website, I know you're very eager to know more about the exam, but just to show you here, if you went here, you should, I think, go and read this membership benefits and all that. And if you see here, actually, when you go to PMI, if you see here, look at the fees here. The fees are, as you see here, the fees are $555 US for non-members. And for member, the exam fees is $405, and the membership fees is approximately $150. So 405 plus 150 is 555, right? So it's better to be a member because you get access to all their free literature, case studies and preparatory books, etc. But not everything is free. A lot of trainings are also free. I mean, the recertification trainings, not the first training. For that you have to pay money to any institute, but you can get a lot of free material. You can attend webinars, etc., short webinars, etc., free of cost. So that's really good. Okay. Back to the eligibility afterwards, more on the eligibility later on. Coming back to this, okay, so that was PMP, a brief about PMP. Now coming over to the advantages, as you see here on this slide, you can work in the global project management environment. The global environment is actually increasing as per PMI. PMI conducts lots of studies, and they say that by 2020, project management business is continuously increasing. It's continuously increasing. So you will be well equipped to manage any type of project. Imagine, just for a moment, imagine if I ask you, go to Canada and manage construction of a bridge, or go to some other country, or in India, do the development of a complex software project. How do you do that? How do you initiate the project? How do you plan the project? How do you execute it? How do you control it? How do you close it? So this knowledge gives you complete handle on managing projects, simple to complex projects. Right? If you are an entry-level project manager, there is another certification known as CAPM, but then you need the same training for that. The training doesn't change. It's only the nature of the examination which changes. The PMP exam is more difficult than the CAPM exam. Right? The CAPM exam is concept-based, whereas the PMP exam is more situation-based. Okay. Okay, and PMP also allows you to, of course, salary increase, as you see here, salary increase 20% more. It applies for all industries, not just IT. In India, particularly IT, oil and gas, construction, what else? These are some of the major industries. Healthcare, these are very big industries in India. And India is also one among the 8 to 10 project intense countries in the world, as per the PMI report. So PMI says India is one of them, apart from US, UK, Mexico, Brazil, China, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, China, UK, Canada, etc. India is among them. Is among them. Good. So lots of benefits here. And so I would like you to imagine the growth you will get once you are PMP certified, right? You may be able to handle your projects in a more comfortable manner. You will be able to influence your peers, your subordinates, your seniors, because a project manager is sandwiched in the company from all sides. So how do you deal with it? How do you manage people? How do you manage your superiors? How do you manage your stakeholders, meaning your customers, business partners, designers? Lots of complexity in projects. Okay, now coming to what you really want to know, the exam. So remember, PMI, the PMP exam, the PMP certification is not just an exam. It also checks your experience. So as I wrote here, experience matters. They are going to validate your experience, and also then you have to write the exam if the experience is seen to be okay. So how do you validate your experience? If you go to the PMI website, what they do is you need to demonstrate, of course, you need to demonstrate 35 hours of education. So you need to, come for a training. So Naukri e-learning, you can do training, e-learning training with Naukri, classroom e-learning, whatever. But you also need to show so many hours of project management. So in my case, because I have a BTech degree, I had to show 4,500. It's a 4-year degree, so many hours, which comes to about 3 years of experience in project management. Whereas this is much more. This is 5 hours, right? If you are a postgraduate, then automatically you qualify for this one. So 3 years or 5 years is what is needed. And for example, if you are in software and if you are doing programming, right? If you have been doing programming for about 3 to 5 years, that is not sufficient, but that is very helpful because it is project execution. But you also must have done some estimation, right? Must have taken part in status meetings, doing some kind of a quality management activities or risk planning, or handling vendors, doing project communications, doing some costing or scheduling, creating timelines of the project, planning or doing some software testing, plans for testing, development of code, right? All those builds, all those things you should have been involved as a project manager. So you can be a technical person, but if you've done technical work and also done project management together, that's a really good fit in any industry, right? So there is a handbook actually. You need to actually go and you can download this handbook. It has the complete process of the exam here, and there's also one more important document, but I will come to this document later on. The exam content outline is required for your preparation. whereas the handbook is more about the process. Okay. Training is compulsory. So these are the two main books here. The second one, what I said, content outline, is actually the syllabus of the exam. Very, very important that you read this document a few times. It's got the syllabus of the exam, and there are some changes, some minor changes to the syllabus from this year, since January this year. So if you read this and get a good grasp of this outline, you can actually handle a lot of questions. For example, there could be a question about something which is mentioned in this document itself. Okay. Moving on. So I would actually urge you to become a member, because it gives you a lot of benefits. And I'll just tell you quickly about a few things when you actually register. But before that, some of the exam challenges. You know, one very important thing what people miss out is this exam is not a normal exam. For example, if you have to write an engineering exam or a medical exam or an entrance exam, those exams only check our understanding of textbooks and how do we apply them. But so that is known as educational testing, whereas this exam is also about psychometric testing. So it actually checks your personality as a project manager. Are you involved in project management activities? Right? So for example, if a person is, if an individual, let's say myself, if I'm very interested in, let's say, knowing about etc., then I would be associating with doctors and all that, right? So it checks, like, if you're a PM, are you actually associating with project management community? Look at the list here: personality, thinking, emotion, aptitude, behavior, influence. Do you have a group association? And there will be questions which check these things. So the questions are not very straightforward. As an example, one of the questions could be, who is responsible for the project charter? Now, if you go and read the PMBOK, I will tell you about it later on, you will get one answer. But in the exam, the question may be more complicated. The question would be a situation. It would say something like, you are a project manager, you have just joined the company as a new manager, and you have in front of you certain documents, and you want to make the project charter. Which document do you need additionally to do the charter? So it actually checks your understanding in a live situation. So that's what is one of the key exam challenges. And so sometimes the book knowledge may or may not really help. It does help you, but it checks how do you apply it in a real situation based on what is going on in the world, what is going on in the industry. But of course, the PMBOK is the standard which is followed. PMI follows the PMBOK standard guide to the project management body of knowledge, as some of you would have already known about it. So it is very important to read this book. When you actually attend training on PMP, the trainers will take you through this content completely. In addition, there will be examples and scenarios. There would be, so this is where you will learn about project planning, so scope management, cost management, time management, risk management, communications management, stakeholder management, vendor management, meaning procurement management, quality management, HR management. All those things are covered. Integration management, all those things get covered. But the project management knowledge is so vast, right? This book may not necessarily cover everything. That is why PMI says, go to the project management exam content outline. Therefore, you need to also read this outline, because it also lists you several other qualities, skills, and knowledge which you should be aware of at least a little bit. We do not have to do a PhD in each one of them, but we need to know a little bit about various concepts in project management. Okay. Quickly coming back to the exam process, what you have to do is you have to go here and register. Of course, depending on the institute where you get training, I would rather suggest you register yourself, but sometimes institutes do offer help for registration. You should actually go to this certification page and register here. When you do apply now, I cannot click this button now, right, because I'm already certified. And you should read this handbook. It's got a lot of things in there. You read this one also, the exam content outline. After you register, while you register, you have to enter your name, address, etc. But also for every, you have to enter the project details. So you have to enter all the project details when you apply. Okay. Yes, I'm getting some questions. Thank you, people. Normally, a person should have somewhere between 6 to 8 years at least to write this exam. There are people who have maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years. It may be a little difficult. I would suggest them to do the CAPM exam, Certified Associate Project Manager. For that, you do not need any experience. Just attending a training would be sufficient. Or 1500 hours of experience without training is also okay for the CAPM. But here, yes, people, I've seen people need to have about 5 years at least, 5, 6, 7, 8. Usually, most of the people who appear for the exam, they have about between 8 to 15 years of experience. Right? Even if you have done small projects, it is okay, as long as you have covered various aspects of project management, cost management, like cost estimation, doing a bit of quality related testing, costing, managing vendors, doing status reports, doing root causes of problems, root cause analysis, right? Monitoring projects, controlling projects, holding the project management meetings, creating the project specifications. There are different terminologies in different industries. Sometimes it is known as system requirement specification, business specifications, business rules, terms of reference, contracts, various nomenclature exists in the industry. Okay. Yeah, there are questions about Prince 2, etc. Yes, I'm coming to that in a second. Not to worry about that. Just one thing about the exam. It is also about if you do a good application, right? There is also an audit process. So audits, if you get selected for an audit, then it takes additional time because you have to provide additional reference material, verification from your manager that your project information is correct. So all that process is also there. Please go and read the document, right? And most important thing so far, you need to understand the PMBOK and the exam content outline. Okay? There is also the certification known as Prince 2. Okay, I'm just going to check my audio just for a second. Just give me a second. Yeah, is it better now, Prapti?
I think
Okay,
it's
I'm just
better.
going to talk. Okay. Okay, good. Fine. So Prince 2, quickly about Prince 2. Prince 2 is a different, it's a different thing. What I will do is I'll just finish this off and then answer all your questions in the Q&A session. I'm just going to get completed with this presentation because lots of questions are coming, but not to worry. All that will be answered. Now, this is very important, exam challenges. Now, the final bit here is the success strategy, how to succeed in the exam. Of course, training is mandatory, as I said. So go for a good quality training. And Naukri e-learning provides good quality training, of course. They're quite reputed. Self-study is important. Just attending the training will not suffice. After the training, you need to go and maybe pair up with some people and study together. Or self-study is also fine. You need to also refer to some other project management literature. Maybe go to the PMI.org. There is a lot of information on PMI.org. Also, you may want to read some project management textbooks, right? But I'm coming to that list afterwards. Very important is practicing. What does it mean? Questions, practicing questions. Just reading will not help. You have to practice lots of questions. Of course, it is no one knows what kind of questions come in the exam. I have written the exam, but ethically, I'm not supposed to disclose what kind of questions come in the exam. When you actually submit your application, you will be signing off that you will not disclose questions and you will not do anything unethical. Your submission of information will be true, etc., etc., right? Okay, anyway, leaving that aside, practice, Start with simple questions, go to more difficult questions, because nobody knows what is the pass percentage. The results will come out as soon as you submit the results in the exam room. When you go to the Prometric center and submit your exam results, when you do the exam and submit, within a minute or two, the results will come out that you have passed the exam or no. And therefore, a lot of practice is required. I would recommend that in the mock exam, you can practice a lot of questions. Every day do some 5 questions, 10 questions, eventually move on to 50, and eventually try to do complete 200 question exam, because the exam has 200 questions, which you have to finish in 4 hours, which is very challenging. So 240 minutes, 200 questions. So you have only a little over 1 minute for each question. In the beginning, you may find that every question, understanding itself takes about 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? So do a lot of practice. Eventually try to get about 85 to 90% pass in those practice exams. Then your pass is guaranteed in the actual real exam. So during the exam also, you need to have a strategy how to pass the exam. When you actually attend the training, the trainers will tell you more about strategies, right? What do you do during the exam? Which type of questions to handle first? Which type of questions to handle in the end, in the middle? How to manage your time? Time is very critical in the exam. Yeah. If you see here in the previous slide, if you see this timer here, timer is very important. I mean, time is very important in the exam, right? So these are the strategies, and this is a slide I think you are all waiting for. There are lots of study guides here, lots of study guides. This is not a complete list, but these are very popular books. I know some of you I think mentioned Rita or this Head First. Yes, Head First is definitely there among the top 5 to 10 books. PMP exam prep, Rita Mulcahy, Head First. And then this is the other one, Ginger Levin's book, Kim Heldman's book. Each book has a slightly different approach, but study any one book. Apart from PMBOK, I think you need to study only one book. Do not go into too many practice guides, because that may cause confusion. You may not have time, but then all those things will be explained to you during the training session. Right? So this is really good. And because they have really good quality questions, and you get access to free questions on their websites. And there are some websites, in fact, there are maybe 15 to 20 websites, but many websites, when you sign up, you start getting a lot of marketing information. So do watch out for that. But these are some of the top websites where you can get free questions. In fact, while you download free questions, they may also send you some marketing stuff to purchase other questions, right? But the free questions are really top quality, really good quality. Okay. So and I'm going to answer some of your questions also. This is the number, the helpline number, and we'll do a poll as well shortly. But just before that, I'm going to just answer some of your questions. Can you bear with me? Yeah, so those who have less experience, I already cleared that. PMP, yeah, Prince2 is another approach. Prince2 is from Axelos, previously from the UK government of commerce. So Prince2 is also a global standard management. So Prince2 and PMP, they're all excellent project management standards globally. But Prince2 is followed more in Europe. PMP is followed more in US, in Asia, Saudi Arabia, right? Europe, whereas Europe, Australia, Canada, they follow more of Prince2. So if you are going to do projects in those countries, in fact, those countries also adapt PMP, and also sometimes in the PMP countries, Prince2 is also adapted. It depends on the customer needs. But Prince2 is different. Prince2 is also very intense. It's a very intense certification. It's a slightly different approach. Prince2 tells who does what at what time, right? Whereas PMP doesn't tell exactly who does what at what time, but it tells you an overall knowledge. When you do Prince2, you will not come to know about different quality control techniques. But when you do PMP, you will be studying the various quality control techniques. So each one has its own benefits, right? I mean, ideally, doing both would be excellent. But then I know it costs money, so you have to make a decision. So I would suggest that depending on your client requirements for the next couple of years or so, go for that certification, PMP or Prince2. Small scale projects, yeah, it's okay, you can still do, and later on move on to larger projects. Okay. And some of you might want to change your career. That is good actually, but then you need to demonstrate some project management experience in order to write the exam, because there are a lot of people who actually apply for the exam and their application gets rejected because they do not have sufficient experience in project management. Yeah? So it's not the total experience which counts, but how much is project management experience? Minimum of 3 years for 4-year degree holders, minimum of 5 years for other degree graduate and diploma holders. Okay, and if you've got only 3 years of experience, it may be a little difficult. As I was telling you, you need to get about 5 to 6 years of industry experience, because people do not become project manager on day one. They actually go through their technical job for initially maybe 3, 4, 5 years, and then they get into project management. Therefore, most of the people who write this exam, they would have worked for about 7 to 8 years at least. There are exceptions, of course. Though, and one more thing about retaining the credentials, there is a 3-year recertification period. So what happens is, so for example, myself, I got the certification in March this year. So 3 years from now, my certification will expire unless I recertify, and for that I have to show my project management activities. For example, did I take training on project management? Did I take training on so there are 3 aspects there: technical project management, business leadership, and strategy management. These 3 aspects are covered. From this year onwards, PMI has actually given more seriousness to what kind of training is allowed. It is not just attending a PMP training, but also leadership training, strategy training must be attended in order to recertify. So a lot of things are coming in because the project management world is becoming more complex. And if you do volunteering activities, you get points for that also. So that is how you recertify. There is no pass mark, but as I was telling you, better to have 85 to 90% in the mock exams. Nobody knows what's the pass mark. And the reason for that is, this is a psychometric testing. If you went and studied the standards of psychometric testing, the pass mark in psychometric testing is what people get. It's a percentile concept. So if most of the people who are writing the exam are getting 80%, and if one person gets 70%, the 70% may be treated as failed. If most of the population is getting 50%, but if some people are getting 40%, then 40% will be treated as failed. So that is how psychometric testing works. So therefore, nobody knows what's the pass. We can never fix a pass percentage in this exam. No age restrictions. Yeah, there are some additional fees. The fees are not as high as $555. It is much less. It's there on the website. It keeps changing. I do not know the current amount. Yes, but there are recertification fees. And if you are a member, you get access to a lot of free material. So your expenses will be less, because if you are not a member, you have to attend a lot more trainings to get those points. You need to get 60 PDUs, professional development units. For the initial certification, you need to get 35 PDUs, which you will get when you attend Naukri e-learning. But afterwards, in the 3 years, you need to get 60 PDUs, so approximately 20 PDUs per year. But then you can do 60 PDUs overall. There is no yearly breakup. So I'm also watching the time here for the... Yes, good questions actually coming up. PMBOK 6 is not out. Right now it is PMBOK 5.0. And the next one is going to come out in 2017 third quarter. As per current communication from PMI, it is expected third quarter of next year, the PMBOK 6.0, but it is subject to PMI's announcement. So keep a watch on the PMI website for their announcements. Small scale, those who do small projects, they can do the CAPM certification, but then if they have done some good things in small projects and they do the PMP training, because the certification doesn't ask whether you have done small projects or large projects, but it asks whether you have covered various aspects of project management, right? Cost, scope, time, risk, all those things should have been covered. Then you are eligible. So CAPM, do take a look at CAPM for those who are. I'll just quickly show you, and then I'll go to the poll actually. If you see here certifications, there's one more known as CAPM. But then you have to attend the same training. You have to attend the same PMP training. But the questions will be easier. It is more textbook based questions. It is educational testing, not psychometric testing. You see here the fees are also less. Okay, I'm just going to start the. By the way, I have heard from people. I've heard from people that CAPM is also recognized in the Indian market. In some of the countries, for example, in US, there is not much difference between CAPM and PMP. Based in terms of salaries, there is maybe if there is a $110,000 versus $100,000. I'm just giving approximate number, but in India the situation may be different, but it is still highly valued. Of course, which company you work for, which industry you work for, how much experience you have, right? And finally, we all know what our boss thinks of us also matters, right? So you have to manage a lot of things in order to get growth in your career. Sometimes there are people who get certified, but they don't grow because they're not applying. They're not applying the knowledge. They're not influencing their management. So influencing is also important. Wonderful. So far, so good. I'm so happy to get so many questions from you because it shows your passion and commitment, your discipline for project management. I would urge you to continue with it and enroll. But it is up to you, right? I'm not trying to market anything. It is up to you. But project management is a wonderful area. I've been in it for many years. I moved on to program management, senior program management, director. The PMP certification has personally helped me a lot in my career and work in good companies. Okay, so just please do this poll. I'm going to start the poll here. There are actually 2 quick polls. I'm going to give you first poll now in terms of what kind of training program would you like, and finally certification question. So I'm going to launch it. You may not be able to see my screen. I'm just going to shortly start the other poll, the last poll. Thank you so much for taking the poll and the interest here. Another half a minute, I will just do the last question, and then you'll be done after that. Thank you so much. Now, the last. I'm closing. I'm going to close this poll, and this is the last one about your interest in the certification itself. I'm going to launch it. Wonderful. Thank you again. I think most of you are done with that. Excellent audience. Excellent audience. Regarding the last question about your interest in the certification, I really want to appreciate each one of you. Excellent response and audience. Because everybody wants to write or think about it. Very good sign here. And I'm going to close that poll so that you can quickly see once again what I'm showing you here, because I want to show you one important slide, which is the phone numbers. I think some of you wanted to see the slide here about the references. Please, I'm going to show this to you for a few seconds. You've got these books here. You know, you can always Google top 5 books, top 5 sites. You get a lot of responses. So basically, I have picked up from those responses on Google, but also because I'm actually practicing and give training, I know exactly which are good, which are not, but you will also be right if you do a bit of research. And these are some of the websites. Some of these sites also sell materials because they would, yeah, no problem. I think those of you are interested in another session, in case you missed the beginning, I'm just going to hand over to Prapti in a few seconds, and then she may be able to take that question when the next session would be, or yeah, those things. So, and this is the number. Please use this number. Yeah, Prapti, there was a question from one of the people about would there be more sessions in the future, and when would the next session would be?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could share the person's name and number, and we could directly reach out to him and talk about other courses that we have. The next batch starting, we could call him up and then give him details on the batches that would soon be starting.
Yes, thank you, Prapti. Yeah, as you can all see here, numbers, you can contact us, and we are happy to support you in your aspirations. Okay. Wonderful, thank you so much. And okay. Yeah, question is, I think the best thing is to contact Naukri e-learning. You can always call them up and call us up and inquire when is the next session. I think that's the best way. It's the best way to do it. Let's do contact Naukri e-learning, because there would be sessions in the future, and there would be there are different types of trainings going on, right? So you can pick and choose whatever you want, whatever suits you. But I think one of you is yeah, what is his question? I'm looking at Bratin's question. Yes, I think there's one question left. Yeah, I may not have clarified that very well, and we'll do a finish after that. Yeah, 10 years of experience as a technical support engineer, right, in the same industry. How to document that experience, right, to showcase the, yes, it's very important how you document your experience when filling the PMI, the PMP application. Now, so 10 years is a good number, good experience, but then what really matters is what has been done with respect to project management. For example, any project estimation, cost estimation, testing, quality control, quality assurance, risk management, project status reporting, project planning, managing outsourcing, vendor management, doing communications management, reporting, root cause analysis, monitoring, control. Those are the things which really matter. Team leadership, for example, managing people, doing team building activities, all those things matter. All those things count. I know that technical support people may have certain, they have some anxiety about how to fill it in, but technical support is good. And if it is purely operational support, then it is not project management. But I think most of the companies, also in technical support, in operation support, there is ongoing improvements. There are customers and stakeholders for which small projects are done now and then, improving certain operational aspects, right? For example, software application maintenance. Sometimes it is done as a project. During the next 1 year, we will be improving the application components. We will be fixing the following bugs. We will be improving the customization of the application. So even though there will be individual operational tickets or reports, it is considered as a project. So you have to play a little smart there. Consider an improvement as a project. Yeah. And I think when such people come to the training, the trainer can really clarify how to do that, because we will actually explain. We may go through particularly in the live sessions, in the classroom sessions, not the recorded ones. You will see how applications are filled in. It will be briefly described in some of the questions. I usually answer questions, how to fill in applications. I go through a sample application and all that. So it is covered in the trainings. So not to really worry unless you have not done project management at all. Okay. Okay, so done. Thank you all for this session, and we are about time. Thank you very much. I would like to close the session now. Yeah, everybody is done.